Redwing. Now this was originally a song written by F.A. Mills and Thurland Chataway in 1907, but it's rarely sung these days. The tune though has just stuck around. It's a common fiddle tune, folk tune, played by old-time bands, bluegrass bands, western swing bands, and it's made it over to England as well. It's a popular folk session tune. It's commonly played in the key of G, and if you're at a folk session you'll probably find it in the key of G. I've put it into the key of F here because it works so much better on the ukulele in the key of F. But if you did want to play along at a session with fiddle players, mandolin players, whatever, you could either pop a capo on the 2nd fret, or if you've got a ukulele tuned up to A, D, F sharp, B as your open strings, which is a common tuning, it was a very common tuning for the soprano uke, then play it on that ukulele and you'll be in the key of G. Now before we start this one, you're probably going to want to download the tablature. So look in the video description and you'll see a link there. You can download the PDF and print it off and you'll be able to follow along. Let's have a look at the tab then. Now the first thing you'll realise is that this tablature wasn't exactly what I played at the beginning. This is kind of a skeletal version for you to take and turn into your own version. But once you've got the basics of the tune, you'll be able to start adding little bits and making it suit your own style of play and your own taste. Let's go through it slowly. There are 2 sections to the tune that repeat and each one has a slightly different ending. Now some of the chords you'll see are just 3 strings, like that first chord where you've got 2, 0, 1 and nothing written on the first line of the tablature. And that's because our melody note's on the 2nd string. Don't worry too much when you're beginning this if you catch the first string. You'll gradually get the hang of playing smaller bits of the tune. But don't make the mistake of picking this, because you're never going to get it up to the kind of fiddle tune speed that we need. And it won't have that same rhythmic drive. So I'm going to do the whole thing with my index finger, either strumming or occasionally picking one string and then strumming. So here we go. I'm going to go strum, strum, take my finger off, pick up on that one string, strum again, and then strum all 4. And again, on that upstroke, don't worry if you catch the string below, the C string or even the G string. It'll just fill out the sound. It'll become your version. Then we put the little finger down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And we're just strumming down, 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 up, down for that bar. So that's our first 2 bars. Now we're going to go right up to the 5th fret. Take a G chord shape, slide that up till you're at the 5th fret. Now I've got a B flat chord written above that, and if someone was strumming chords along with you, they'd play a B flat there. To make it easier for us to reach the melody, I've left that G string open. Now that makes it a B flat 6 rather than a B flat, but don't worry about that. It sounds great, and if someone's strumming a B flat with you, they'll work together. So here we have, and then our little finger comes down on the 8th fret and then off again. So we have, and then we're back down to our F with the little finger on that 3rd fret of the 1st string. And that's the first half of the first section. Okay, then we have an open 1st string, and you can just take off your little finger here and keep the F chord down if you like, because notice that this note is right at the end of a bar of F. So if you do accidentally catch other strings, they'll fit with the chord. Then we have a C7, and then this little bit which is just all single notes. So C7, then 1, 0, 3 on the next string down, back to the 1st fret of the 1st string, and then a similar pattern on an F, just a 2-finger F. Now notice I didn't take off my first 2 fingers on this bar, because again if I catch extra strings then those notes are going to fit within the chord and it'll sound fine, like this. Still works. Then we have a little G chord, just 3 strings if you can possibly hit those 3 and not the first one, but if you want to fret a full G chord here with the 2nd fret on the 1st string, just in case, that's okay. Another way to get those 3 note chords is to pluck them upwards with your finger. So I could take that G chord, start on my 2nd string and pluck up, and then there's no chance of me hitting the 1st string. So then we have the 2nd fret of the C string, open E, 1st fret E, and then the 3rd fret of your E string and the 2 below it as open strings to make our C chord. And then another little run down. Now those last 2 bars that we just did have a 1 and a line above it, and that means this is what we play the first time round of this little bit of the tune. And you'll see that there are repeat marks at the end of this. They send us back to the beginning and we do it all again. So what I'll do is I'll play through it, play the first time ending, go back to the beginning and play through it until we get to the first time ending again. Then I'll stop because it won't be the first time. We'll have to do something else. Now we're at the point where we've got the 1 and that line, but we've already done this, so it's not the first time. So we skip these 2 bars and go to the bit where the number 2 and the line is above, the 2nd time round ending. And this, instead of going to a G chord, goes straight to that C, which I'm just playing 3 strings off, so I'm doing it upwards. Then open C string, open E string, 3rd fret E string, so, and then onto the next line, F. Now the next bit of the tune starts halfway through this bar. So I'm going to stop there, halfway through that bar, and play the whole of the A section twice round so you can hear what it sounds like. Second time. Nice, and that's brought it to a nice close, so we can go on to the next bit of the tune. So from the 4th line down, we have those 2 Fs that we did at the end, and then we jump up the neck. We're going to bar across the 5th fret and put our little finger on the 8th fret, which is also an F chord. So that F chord above, for anyone who might be strumming chords with you, still applies. And then we take that note down from the 8th to the 7th, keep the bar there. And then you'll see another set of repeats. Now this is the opening repeats for the B section. The B section of the tune, or the second part of the tune, is going to do the same thing as we did at the top. It's going to play through with 2 different endings, so we go through it twice. So once we've done this bit, that's kind of a lead-in to the next section of the tune, which starts with that G shape we had before up at the 5th fret for the B flat chord. B flat 6 really, but it's the B flat chord on the chart. I strum, I pluck up on the 2nd string, which I'm already holding at the 6th fret, then I strum again, then I pick up on the 1st string, 5th fret, which I'm already holding, then I put my little finger down on the 8th fret, strum, take my little finger down to the 7th fret and pluck that one, take it off and strum. So all I did was add my little finger on the 8th, move it down to the 7th and take it off. So we get this. From that little lead in, now as you can see from the tablature, I'm trying to keep a strong chord on beats 2 and 4 through this section. It doesn't matter if my note on the beats 1 and 3 is just a single note. I get this. I've got that in the background playing on the backbeat, the 2 and the 4, which is a nice strong rhythm. Then we're back down to our F with our little finger on the 3rd fret, and the same sort of thing. Pluck the 1st string, strum, take your little finger off, pluck it, strum, pluck it again, put your little finger back, strum. Now this is tricky. In fact, that last one you might not want to use your little finger. You might want to use your ring finger, because the next note is at the 5th fret, and that's a bit of a stretch. You could slide your little finger up, but probably easier to go from ring finger to little finger. So we have this. And then back to our F with the 3rd fret. Then we keep that note there and we change to a C chord and we pluck 1st string. And notice on this C chord I'm also holding down the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. That actually makes that kind of a C5, a C power chord. But it sounds great, and in a moment we're going to play that note, so we might as well hold it down now. So on the C, 2nd string 3rd fret, strum again, 2nd string 3rd fret, strum again. Now we're in the 1st time ending. Then up to the 5th fret, but try and keep hold of those 2 at the 3rd fret, because after that one note you take that off again and strum, and then back to our F chord. Okay, and that's coming towards the end of our 1st time round, this time our 1st time ending. So I'll lead into that section and I'll play it right up until the end of the 1st time ending this time round. So here's our little lead in, the 4th line down of the tab. And this bar is exactly the same as the previous lead-in that we had into the B section. I've kept that 1st F just a little bit smaller. Don't worry about just hitting 2 strings. Just keep it a smaller, quieter F, so that we get that 2 and 4 strong chord feeling again. And then back up here, and with the repeats take us back to that B flat chord, and we do it again. And now we're going to jump to the 2nd time ending, which starts off the same as the 1st time ending. And then, now that's a C7 chord. It's up to you whether you keep that 2nd finger down on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. I like to keep it there because it just helps me keep hold of the ukulele and not drop it. And it sounds good. So coming up to that 2nd time ending, here we go. And then we're on to an F chord, and a C7 and an F. And that's one pass through the tune. 2 of the A section, different ending each time. 2 of the B section, different ending each time. So let's play through the whole thing nice and slowly, and then I'll just show you a few ways that you can jazz it up and make it your own. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second time, B section. second time ending. Now it'll take a while to get it as confident as that, and I recommend you break it up into little chunks, always thinking about trying to keep hold of the chord as long as you can. If you start playing a chord and letting go to play a single note and going back to a chord, it will all fall to pieces and you'll be making a lot of work for yourself. Now when you've got it from the tablature, and don't worry too much about whether you're playing a single note or catching two strings or whatever, as long as you're holding the chord down, you can do anything you want with it. So if you wanted to make it into something a little bit more rhythmic and less heavy on the melody, you could do something like this. Left-handed exactly the same as I was doing the first time through. I was just being a bit looser, I was playing more chords instead of single notes, and I was focusing more on keeping that driving rhythm. And the great thing is about these tunes, because they repeat around and around and around, you can have different ways of playing each time around. Now don't forget, check in the description and there's a link for the tablature that you can download. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.